Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks, and welcome to February. It's February 1st, 2024. We're already in month number 2 of the year, and we discuss every day. It seems like we're getting bombarded with more bad and unfortunate economic news. You would not know that from looking at the stock market today. Dow Jones was up 369 points, about 1%. S&P was up 1.25%, and the Nasdaq was up 197 points, and I have that about 1.3%. Didn't get back everything it lost yesterday, but again, if you were just looking at the stock market news today, you would think that everything is going great. It's not. We'll talk today about 2 important issues that are becoming repetitive, but because they are very important. Number 1, your job and your money. Employment, layoffs, and the banking crisis that's continuing to unfold. I'll discuss both in a second. Before I get to that, I want to thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for taking time to click and listen to this content. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please continue to subscribe. And most importantly, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And let's share the videos with many people as we possibly can. I love having the subscribers, but the views are so important because YouTube feeds on that, and they pick it up and they start suggesting this, and the algos run with it. So please do your best for the channel, for the community to let's get the views rocking and rolling. Appreciate all of the support from each and every one of you and your comments. So let's jump right into this, following up from yesterday on this regional banking crisis that continues to unfold. So despite the stock market going up today, green across the board, we had the exact opposite in the banking sector. I show the KBW regional banking ETF fell over 2%. I just checked these a few minutes ago. The bank that we discussed yesterday, New York Community Bank Corp, it fell 38% yesterday. Today it fell another 11%. It's up 1% after hours, or a couple percent, but we have basically a 48% drop in the stock price of that regional bank in the last 48 hours. Zero Hedge did do an article on this. I pulled up earlier. It says regional bank stocks are crashing again. It says, as we detailed, the banking crisis never went away, and it now appears the rest of the market realizes that that as well, as regional banks shares are extending their losses significantly today. This morning we saw U.S. CRE crisis says go global as Azora Bank faced the music on its balance sheet folly. I checked Azora, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, it lost 26% today. And NYCB, of course, from yesterday is also extending the losses, it said, and yes, another 10% it fell today to compound the 38% drop yesterday. Western Alliance Bancorp is getting clubbed, it says, like a baby seal. I checked that. It fell 7.5% today. Zion Bancorp also fell almost 6.5%. That's my local regional, one of my local regional banks here in this area. It says Comerica and Webster Financial also tumbled along with Citizens Financial, Regions Financial, South State, Prosperity Bank shares, Schwab, PacWest, and Huntington Bank shares. All those stocks fell today. This is all of which leads us wondering, is the market starting a bank run to call Powell's bluff, meaning from yesterday that Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve have indicated that it is unlikely that they will be cutting rates at the March meeting. And so the market doesn't seem to be throwing as much of a temper tantrum as possibly the banking sector does. But this is all because these banks are carrying so much bad debt, commercial and office space debt or loans on their balance sheets. It says, as a reminder, billionaire Barry Sternlicht warned just yesterday that he sees more than $1 trillion of losses for office real estate, calling the properties one asset class that never recovered from the pandemic. It says the office market has an existential crisis right now, which is largely a U.S. phenomenon, but because workers haven't gone back to their desks, Steinlich said Tuesday, once a $3 trillion asset class. Offices now are probably worth $1.8 trillion, he says. There's a $1.2 trillion loss spread somewhere, and nobody knows exactly where all that is. We discussed a few shows ago, how many skeletons are in the closets of these regional banks, which banks. And I think it's just a matter of time until we start seeing the rest of these dominoes fall. So I don't know where you have your money. If your money is all in a regional bank or a smaller bank, you might want to consider, spreading, not having all your eggs in one basket. Possibly consider having some funds in some of the larger, more too big to fail banks. Like I said yesterday, I use a regional bank, but I also use larger banks as well. So keep that in mind. Do not assume that the FDIC insurance threshold will be there to protect your money. There's some real problems with that. You can look into it separately. All right, let's talk about the second theme, continuing crisis in this country with layoffs and jobless claims. Another article from Zero Hedge today says initial and continuing jobless claims surge as layoffs accelerate. The number of Americans filing for jobless claims for the first time in the last week was 224,000. That's 12,000 above expectations and 9,000 above the prior week. That is the highest since November. So that's 200, basically almost 250,000 people in this country filing for first-time jobless benefits. It says it's the biggest two-week jump in initial claims since the start of 2022. And it says this is not seasonal, as the data is already seasonally adjusted. It says California, New York, and Oregon saw the biggest increase in initial claims, while Illinois and Missouri saw the biggest declines in claims. And the article concludes by saying continuing claims, which is where people are already getting benefits, unemployment benefits, and they extend their claims or continuing them. So the continuing claims also rose to within a smidge of 1.9 million Americans, which is close to its highest since December of 2021. So new claims are on the rise. Continuing claims are not going down, are also on the rise. Let's feed into the next two stories about further layoffs. It says, this article is from CNBC, and it says January hiring was the lowest for the month on record as layoffs surged. It says companies announced the highest level of job cuts in January since early 2023, a potential trouble spot for a labor market that will be in sharp focus this year, according to a report Thursday from Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. I hope the lighting is okay for the video here, guys. We have some stormy weather here locally, and the light coming in the windows is not great, and it's shifting on me. So I hope that this comes out clear enough. It says the job outplacement firm said planned layoffs totaled 82,307 for the month, a jump of 136% from December, though still down 20% from the same period a year ago. It says it was the second highest layoff total and the lowest planned hiring for the month of January in data going back to 2009. Let me repeat that. It was the second highest layoff total and the lowest planned hiring level for the month of January going back to 2009. And 2009 was the great financial crisis time frame. So we are in perilous territory here with regard to these layoffs, and companies not only are laying off more, but they're also not hiring. So it says technology and finance were the hardest hit sectors, with high-flying Silicon Valley leaders such as Microsoft, Alphabet, and PayPal. We know we're making substantial layoffs. Of course, those are the same stocks today that are rallying on earnings. So let's see how that plays out. The article concludes by saying initial jobless claims totaled 224,000. We just talked about that, up 9,000 from previous weeks. So this feeds into the same article from Zero Hedge about how the jobless claims are increasing. Another article today came out from CNBC. Okta to lay off 7% of staff, about 400 employees. Identity management company Okta said on Thursday in a message to employees that it would lay off 400 employees, which is 7% of the company's headcount. So that is another one. I know I got a comment from someone the other day that Levi's laid off a substantial portion of workforce. I think maybe with 15%, something like that. So if you guys are in a job where a mid-sized, large company, whatever it might be, even a smaller local operation, please give some thought to exploring starting your own business, having a separate source of income aside from your paycheck, whether it's a W-2 or a 1099. You can easily be terminated. And these companies are shifting strategy from having large staffs and layers of management to getting leaner and meaner. And the reason why they're doing this is because their stock prices are going up after they have these layoffs. And so other companies are seeing this, and the culture is changing, I think. Yes, we have terrible economic conditions, but we have AI coming into it. We also have a culture change with regard to these employers. So whatever you can do to insulate yourself from a catastrophe like being laid off, please have some money set aside. Have 4 to 6 months of reserves, of cash reserves, so you can pay your bills if something like that would happen to you, either from a company laying you off or from an unforeseen illness or anything like that. We have to be prepared. We're talking about being prepared in lots of areas with regard to food supplies and water supplies and alternative methods of cooking and security, and all these things that we talk about from a preparedness standpoint. It's also very important that you have some reserves set aside if you can manage to do that to insulate yourself if you're laid off. The best way to do it, though, is have some reserves and also start your own business. Start small, start a side hustle, and do not do it with debt. So I'll keep harping on this concept all the time of starting your own business. So banking crisis getting worse. This will affect all of us wherever you have your money. If these loans start defaulting throughout the year, and these mid-sized banks, more of them start collapsing, this is going to have a ripple effect on the economy and on the stock market. Nothing will be safe. And of course, jobs. So your money and your job. I hope the content's been helpful today. We're going to keep reporting on these crucial topics as they unfold. Do not get caught up in just the nightly headline news, or I'm sure tonight they'll be talking about how the stock market went up and how Meta's earnings were great and Amazon's earnings were great. And so everything is wonderful out there. It's, to use Jeremiah's term, it's all unicorns and rainbows. But we all know it isn't. So folks, I know if you're watching this channel, you're awake. Or if you're first coming over to the channel, you are at least investigating and looking into alternative sources of news and information about the reality of what's happening on the ground. With that being said, I'll leave it there for today. I'll be going to get my workout here in about an hour. Please do the same today. Get your walking in, get some steps, get some strength training in, some sit-ups, push-ups. You don't need to go to some fancy gym to do that. It's just about getting the time in, making the time, and actually getting it done and being consistent. The diet, very, very important. Do not neglect the diet. What you eat is more important than how much you're working out every day. So again, all of you have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.